Okay, so I just watched the entirety of Manifest, Season 4, Part 1. I'm going to give you guys a quick review and get ready for Part 2. What is up, Netflix fans? Welcome back to my channel. We're back with another season of Manifest, a show that got popular at the beginning when it first came on NBC, but slowly gained popularity when it came over to Netflix. Now we have Season 4 on Netflix. Is this one worth a watch? Did the quality drop off? We're going to talk about all of those things. So, 2 years after the brutal murder of Grace turned their lives upside down, the Stone family is in shambles after a devastated Ben continues to mourn his wife and search for his kidnapped daughter, Eden. Consumed by his grief, Ben has stepped down from his role as co-captain of the lifeboat, leaving Michaela to captain alone. As the death date draws closer and the passengers grow desperate for a path to survival, a mysterious passenger arrives with a package for Cal that changes everything they know about Flight 828 and will prove to be the key to unlocking the secret of the callings in this compelling, mind-bending, and deeply emotional journey. Boy, that was a lot to get through, and this is one of those shows that kept me on my toes throughout the entirety of Season 1, but has turned into something almost entirely different. We were set out on a path. That path has become filled with the idea that destiny and fate are in charge. It's almost like you have to believe in a higher power to get everything out of this show that it's trying to give you, and just the scenes where our characters are hearing the wind and feeling where they need to go next, man, it's trippy. It's a trippy series, and I'm so excited to see where we go in Part 2 because all of these stepping stones that we get in Part 1 leading us to a place that I think could make for a really nice payoff if it does indeed pay off. That's the question. Austin, what about our characters? Well, let's start with Ben, a man who will do whatever it takes to find Eden, obviously, and we're dealing with someone who most people who watch this series is just not gonna like in Angelina. Oh my God, Angelina, the most ruthless, such an anger-inducing character, but the actress does such a wonderful job, and Ben, like I said, determined. He feels with everything in him that fate is leading him to Eden, and while he doesn't get there at the beginning, the mission is always ongoing, and it feels like that's what's driving him throughout most of the season. A very interesting character. He's always been an interesting character, but much more so in this season because of the drive behind what he's doing. Michaela and Sanvi are fascinating in this season, and then you have this new passenger who shows up with something for Cal. Now, Cal, a much older version of Cal, and the questions that we have about how he got from where he was to this 5 years later version of who he is now, well, he's asking those questions, we are asking those questions, and as we progress throughout Season 4, we start to get our answers that are leading us to that finale in Episode 10 that is, 9 and 10. They are full of cliffhangers and moments that are going to make you say, I need Part 2 right now just to answer the questions. Now, we get a lot of answers to a lot of questions in this season, or in this part of this season. We're continuing to find items, maybe people from the plane that pop up and bring about new ideas and really new questions as to, is there something even more than what they think is going on? And with the government being involved and tracking people's every movement, it adds a spin on some of the ideas that we got in prior seasons. Jared, once again, plays an integral role. I've always liked his character arc, but where it brings him into Season 4 and beyond. Also, I want to mention this. Characters are not safe, right? We get cameos, people coming in from other seasons, faces that we will recognize, and not all of them will make it through Part 1 of Season 4, so be prepared to kind of have the same level of emotion that you had in like a Season 1. And not that I didn't enjoy Seasons 2 or 3, but the 3 seasons since Season 1, it has become a bit more convoluted and complicated, right? If we get all of the answers to our questions, then I'm not going to feel that way once we get Part 2. But there is a lot going on. There are a lot of cogs turning right now, and if they don't come together in the next batch of episodes, well, then we may have some issues with what they're building up in Part 1. But the same tropes, the same cliches, they apply. It's kind of that same melodramatic formula, the familiarities, the cliches of the genre that it's firmly in, feeling still like a television show, like to the point to where they'll fade to black and it'll be like there's a commercial break. The show, Season 4, even though it was produced by YouTube, continues to have the exact same feeling, and that's a good thing. We want continuity with the characters. We also want continuity with the feel of the show, and it's well made, right? Nothing is a standout technically. Yeah, I guess the CGI is pretty good, but the cinematography is solid. The acting, it's exactly where it has been, even though characters are feeling way more emotions. Cal, this actor playing Cal, feeling the weight of the world on his shoulders for good reason. I think that's conveyed in that performance, so a really nice job there. Overall, though, it is a series that does follow that formula, and because it follows that formula, it may start to become too much for some people, but as long as we have those characters that are kind of the backbone of the series, at least the ones who make it through part one, there's a little bit of a tease, then I do believe this is going to be a fascinating conclusion at the end of the season, but we have to wait for the next batch of episodes. So if you want me to talk in more detail, obviously this is a non-spoiler review. I want to let you guys watch through it. There's 10 episodes of this show, so it's going to be a bit of a lengthy watch. Let me know in the comments down below, would you like more Manifest talk? And would you like a review for part 2? If you're here and you enjoy this Manifest review, let me know down below by dropping that like. I am not going to give it a full score right now because it is just a part 1. If I had to give you something, I would say within the 7 to 7.5 range, but it all comes down to how we wrap it up, and leaving it off where it did with that cliffhanger, one story point in particular, I have a feeling it could be pretty interesting. So thanks again for watching, guys. Just a quick review for you, and I'll see you soon.